Emma was a freelance artist, enjoying the quiet solitude of her small cabin in the woods. She loved being alone, using the peace to fuel her creativity. One chilly autumn evening, she decided to work late, engrossed in painting a forest scene. The hours ticked by, and as midnight approached, she felt an odd sense of unease. It wasn't the usual silence of the woods, it felt heavy, like she was being watched. Shrugging it off as paranoia, Emma returned to her work, her brush strokes becoming sharper. Suddenly, she heard a faint creak behind her. Turning quickly, she scanned the dimly lit room, but everything seemed normal. Still, her unease grew, and she decided to lock all the doors and windows just in case. As she bolted the front door, a chill ran down her spine. There, on the frost-covered glass, was a single handprint, large and smudged, as if someone had been leaning against it. Emma's heart raced as she checked outside with a flashlight, but the woods were eerily still. She called her best friend, Sarah, who assured her it was probably nothing and that she should get some sleep. Reluctantly, Emma agreed and headed to her bedroom, locking the door behind her. But as she lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. At 3 a.m., a loud bang echoed from the living room. Gripping a kitchen knife, Emma crept out to investigate, her hands trembling. On the floor was her painting, slashed across the canvas. Above it, written on the wall in red paint, were the words, "You shouldn't have stayed alone." Moral asterisk solitude can be inspiring, but it's crucial to stay vigilant, especially in isolated areas. Ryan was house-sitting for his uncle, who owned a large, secluded farmhouse on the outskirts of town. The house was old, creaky, and filled with antiques that seemed to whisper stories of the past. On his first night alone, Ryan decided to explore the house, flashlight in hand. As he wandered through the dusty halls, he felt a strange draft, though all the windows were closed. He brushed it off and settled in the living room to watch TV, the only source of light in the otherwise dark house. Around midnight, the screen flickered, and the power cut out. Ryan sighed, blaming the storm outside, and lit a few candles. That's when he noticed the faint sound of footsteps upstairs. Remembering his uncle's warning about the old pipes making noises, he tried to ignore it. But the footsteps grew louder, more deliberate, as if someone was pacing. Gripping a heavy flashlight, Ryan decided to investigate, climbing the creaky staircase. The noise led him to the guest bedroom, its door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, Ryan found the room empty except for an old rocking chair facing the window. The chair swayed gently, though the air was still. As he approached, he noticed something chilling, a faint outline of a figure reflected in the windowpane. Spinning around, he found no one there, but the chair abruptly stopped rocking. Ryan bolted downstairs, locking himself in the kitchen until morning. When his uncle returned, he revealed the house's dark secret. A former tenant had been murdered in that very chair, and her presence was often felt on stormy nights. Ryan vowed never to house-sit again. Moral: sometimes, the past lingers in ways we can't explain, and some places are best left alone. Sophia had just moved into a charming old townhouse in the city. It was her first night alone, and she was excited to make the place feel like home. After unpacking, she decided to relax with a cup of tea and a book. As the night deepened, she noticed a faint humming sound coming from the floorboards. Thinking it might be the heating system, she paid it no mind. But the noise grew louder, morphing into a low, raspy whisper. Sophia froze, her cup trembling in her hand. It sounded like a voice, repeating the same word over and over. "Come." Her curiosity got the better of her, and she followed the sound to the basement door. The whispering stopped the moment she opened it, revealing a dark, musty staircase. Sophia hesitated but decided to investigate, flashlight in hand. The basement was cold and damp, filled with old furniture and boxes. As she moved further in, her flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Suddenly, she tripped over something, a small, dusty doll with its eyes painted black. Sophia's breath caught as the whispering returned, louder and more insistent. This time, it was coming from the far corner of the basement. She turned the flashlight toward it and screamed. There, standing in the corner, was a figure, tall, shadowy, and motionless. She dropped the flashlight and scrambled up the stairs, slamming the door shut. When she called the landlord the next day, he confessed that previous tenants had reported similar incidents. The house had a tragic history involving a child who went missing decades ago. Sophia moved out the following week, unable to shake the feeling that the figure was still waiting for her. Moral: when faced with the unknown, it's better to trust your instincts and leave than to risk uncovering something you can't handle. These stories remind us that being alone at night isn't always as peaceful as it seems. The silence can hide whispers, the shadows can hold secrets, and the unknown can be disturbingly real. Stay safe, trust your gut, and remember that sometimes, it's better not to investigate the things that go bump in the night.